People are hopping on. Hello, guys. Welcome back to our low carb webinar with Dana and Cheryl. We missed you. We're going every other week now, and so it feels like I haven't seen you guys in a long time. So we are back and just in time too, because today we're going to talk about getting back to low carb eating after the holiday. So very timely message, and I'm excited to hear your guys' feedback. Let's learn a little bit from Dana and see what she has to say. In the meantime, guys, say hello. You can post your comments and questions in the Q&A or even in the chat. Those of you on Facebook, feel free to post there. I'm going to do my best to check those as well. So if you haven't registered for this webinar, again, it's every other week on Tuesdays, 9 a.m. Central Time. You will get a reminder for it, but you can go to bartonwebinar.com and sign up for these webinars. So share it with a friend if you're finding value in it, because we're talking about food and ways to fuel your body and such good information that we want to make sure that people who need it get this information for free. So, all right, why don't we go ahead and get started? Dana, welcome back after the 4th of July. It sounds like everybody just had a really good 4th of July here. Let us know what you guys did in the comments. But we want to hear all your tips and tricks about how to come back after the holiday if we maybe didn't make the best decisions.
Yeah. Raise your hand if you ate differently over the 4th of July holiday weekend. That was me.
Yes. Yeah.
Big ice cream last night.
Nice.
Good morning. Yes, please drop us a note in the comments and let us know if you did, or if you did eat differently, and what did you eat, and how is your mindset this morning regarding how you ate this weekend? That would just be my first tip, is don't let this past weekend of eating impact your mindset for today, other than just nourish your body. Sometimes we get into the mindset, oh my gosh, I ate horrible this weekend, and then we get into restrict mode. And then, okay, we're going to start out great this morning. We're going to fast until noon or 1. And then we have this little lunch. And then by the time supper rolls around and all the craziness of the evening is happening, we've lost all our willpower. We're tired. And then we make choices that aren't going to serve our health goals. So just feed your body today with foods that you know work best for you. Does that look like lowering your carbs a little bit compared to what you did over the weekend? Or maybe a lot? Focus on those really good proteins, the healthy fats, non-starchy vegetables, and feel full. It's okay to fill your body up with the nourishing foods. And I just know I work with a lot of people that struggle with that mentality of restricting. Do you feel that way, Leslie and Cheryl, where you're like, oh my gosh, now I'm just going to be good, and then it doesn't always pan out how you hope by the end of the day?
Yeah, and I think that probably comes from years of almost like a diet culture, you know, and looking at food incorrectly instead of looking at food as a beautiful thing, a gift, a way to fuel your body, looking at it as kind of the enemy. And so I need this mind shift even today, even though I know better, I still am like, let's try to fast as long as possible, or, just like you said. So I definitely fall into that category.
Yeah, me too. And I still feel full. So part of me just wants to be like, I don't want to even touch food. I want to avoid it. But that's such a good reminder to maybe eat a little more vegetables today, something that will actually help my body instead of just deny.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, Cheryl. Those veggies, the non-starchy veggies. So anything but your peas, potatoes, and corn, those veggies can just help give us volume and help fill us up, and all the vitamins and minerals and antioxidants. Just a really great way to start the day. And remember, we can have vegetables any time of the day. They don't just have to be for our noon or evening meal. We can include them in our first meal of the day.
Good. All right, so I just have a quick question here. So I'm curious, what did you eat for breakfast this morning? Or maybe you haven't eaten yet. Is that okay to ask that?
Absolutely. So I had some turkey, just deli turkey from Costco. It's just an antibiotic or, hormone antibiotic free, no nitrates or nitrites. I really like this deli turkey at Costco. It's a quick protein source. And I did grab 6 ounces of it. So, that's a hefty dose of protein, and some avocado and pickled onions. Random first meal of the day, but I needed my protein because I've already worked out today and I wanted some healthy fats. And those onions, they just rounded it out for me. So that was my first meal of the day.
Do you make your onions or are
That's
you
what I was
purchasing them?
Yeah, I do. I need to post it on Facebook, or even I could share it in the group how I did it. It's on my Instagram page, but I just slice up my red onions really thin, stuff them in a big jar, and apple cider vinegar to the top. And have you used the Lakanto Golden before? Golden sweetener. So you could do like a swerve or a swerve granular or this Lakanto Golden, and just shake it up. And I do like maybe a tablespoon for 2 onions, and it just takes away just that little bit of tanginess of the vinegar, and they are good on everything.
Oh, I think I would like that. I may need to do that. Okay, give us your Instagram handle so that we can make sure people can find you, or Facebook, your website, all of that real quick.
So on Instagram, it's dana.cushing.health. Facebook is Dana Cushing Health.
Okay.
And I've been hoping to get a little bit more going in a private group on Facebook. Anybody's welcome to join, but it's called Stop Sugar Secrets. And I feel like in Facebook groups, we get a little bit more interaction rather than on a page. Sometimes those pages get buried. So I would love to have you join us. I can maybe send the link here, Leslie, and
Perfect.
if anybody's interested in joining, and, feel free to share any successes or opportunities with sugar in that Stop Sugar Secrets.
Awesome. This is good because I follow her on Instagram and I like to see her stories because it gives me inspiration for what I can eat, or maybe some new ideas that I hadn't really thought of. And oftentimes there's something just really little. Many of you on this webinar are already eating really well, but sometimes, you just need a little something to add a little bit more excitement to your food. And so that's why I love to follow her. So make sure you do that if you aren't already. Those of you on, let us know what you had for breakfast. Some of you, you might be getting close to lunch. So let us know what you're doing as well. It's always hard. It feels like a Monday, so, but it's Tuesday. So we want some ideas as well. I'm going to be doing some grocery shopping very soon. So this is good.
So another thing, it's like if we ate pretty high carb this weekend, whether it was from alcohol or chocolate or the potato chips, to help us wean off of that high carb, don't forget to include salt with your food today. That's going to help you transition back to that lower carb way of eating. So just adding salt on top of your food, or, do you have extra pickle juice at home? Take a swig of pickle juice, just to help with some of those cravings, and then stay hydrated. I know we talked about this last week, but so whether it's pickle juice or you're using some type of electrolyte replacement, that is a good way to help combat some of because we're getting off that blood sugar roller coaster from the weekend. So just to kind of help stabilize things, salt is the good white stuff that we want to include, while the other white stuff, sugar, is going away.
So good.
All right. This is good. Cheryl, what did you have for breakfast this morning?
I haven't anything but coffee this morning.
I'm the same.
But I do have, I cut up some veggies yesterday, some cucumbers and celery. So I planned on snacking those a little before lunch or when I got hungry. My question though is, like, in the house where I'm at right now, that we have like sour cream dip and French onion dip. What's a good alternative to those when you want to snack on veggies and want a little more flavor?
And are the dips that you have, do they have like the oils in them? Is that why you're wanting to avoid that?
Yeah, I guess I think that sometimes like the French onion dip's probably so processed
Mm-hmm.
that I'm wondering what would be a good alternative, like a
Yeah.
ranch dressing or just
Yep.
something to add a little more flavor to the crunch. And cucumbers are bland. They're great water content, but just can be a little bland if you eat them alone.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's be real. Sometimes you got to have something else to get the vegetables down. That's what I tell my kids.
Yep. Absolutely. I really like doing so I love the Chick-fil-A sauce. Have we talked about that before?
I don't think so.
So it's a mayo with just a little bit of sugar-free barbecue sauce and liquid smoke. And typically it's a chicken dip, but I have been loving it for raw veggies or even my cooked veggies, just to add a little bit of fat, because when we add fat to our veggies, it helps increase the absorption of those fat soluble vitamins, vitamin A, D, E, and K. We need fat to absorb those from the veggies. So when we add it, that increases the absorption. So that has been one of my go-to dips. Or I will take like a plain Greek yogurt or a regular yogurt. You could even do sour cream and do bagel seasoning. I just sprinkle a bunch of bagel seasoning in there, and that is very good as well.
And the bagel seasoning has the salt that you're talking about. Probably.
Yes,
So
good
that's
point.
a great.
Yes, get our salt fix to help tame that sugar dragon that is wide awake this morning, probably.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
funny. How do you feel about smoked salmon?
I love smoked salmon as an option. I was a little disappointed. I was at Costco the other day and looking at their ingredients on the smoked salmon, and I can't remember if it was canola oil in there or one of those seed oils that we're trying to stay away from. But I think that is a fabulous option. And if you can ever find the smoked salmon that's already filleted nice and thin, I mean, you can go ahead and make low carb sushi with that. I think it's fantastic. Yep.
Okay.
And that's a great first meal of the day food option too. I mean, get a nice dose of healthy protein and fat, and that will set you up for success all day long.
One of the things that I think I had to change my mindset about was that breakfast had to be breakfast foods. And so often I would not eat breakfast, or I would just find something very small, because the idea of pancakes and bacon and eggs and stuff like that I don't ever really crave that or want that. And so I remember, I don't know what it was, that someone had said, you can eat your leftover steak, eat your like all of that kind of stuff in the morning. There's no rule that says you have to eat that later in the day. And so that was a big shift for me mentally. And even it still is for me. I still feel that way sometimes, okay, well, what do I need to mix with eggs? I don't always want eggs, so this is a good reminder for me that I don't have to eat all of that.
Right. And it's so hard, but the processed food industry has us thinking that we need Pop-Tarts or toaster strudels for breakfast. We have that sweet, cinnamon rolls or pastries, anything just sweet. The fruit juices with the waffles and the syrup. I mean, it is basically a sugar breakfast is what the processed food industry has us thinking that we need, when really, if we can just, like you said, Leslie, change our mindset to it's our first meal of the day, and it can be anything, any type of meat, any type of veg, protein, or, maybe you're just going to do 2 meals, but regardless, you always will have a first meal, whether you're doing 2 or 3 meals per day, but making sure that first meal is focused on protein. Just think PP, prioritize protein with a non-starchy vegetable and a healthy fat for that first meal. And that is really going to set you up for just keeping those cravings at bay throughout the rest of the day.
Okay. Meg says Trader Joe's has great wild smoked salmon packs, even an option for bits, which are less expensive packs, which weigh a little bit more too. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, good to
You know what, Meg? We don't even have a Trader Joe's next to or in our city that's close to us. And yeah, Cheryl, I forget you don't live here either. Cheryl's in Minnesota right now. Yeah. So it feels like she lives by us. Dana and I are both in South Dakota. So we have to drive a few hours to get to Trader Joe's, but I need to start making my list. I think of all the things I would like to purchase there.
Yes, that's good to know because I would love a wild smoked salmon, especially. And it's very challenging to find that, that the farmed salmon is, of course, it's okay to do that every once in a while, and not everybody has access or the finances to do wild salmon all of the time, but wild is going to be even better than the regular salmon. And when it's smoked, it'll last longer. And yeah, that's great to know that there's that option. But you're right, Cheryl, we're going to have to make our list because make our list and bring our cooler.
I know. This is another good reminder too. When I first tried to kind of make the transition to fueling my body better, to eating healthier, I felt like I had to eat everything organic, wild caught, free range, etc. And I wanted to. I knew the benefits of that. That is not always easy, and it can be very expensive. And so I'm sure you would say this as well, but I think you need to do what you can do, starting with even the changes to the foods that are better, but maybe aren't best. You can still have, your fruits that maybe aren't organic if you get to have fruit. It depends on where you're at. And eventually, as your finances allow, then make the change to that. That was really hard for me, I think, in the beginning because my budget kind of doubled. And anyway, I just want to encourage you guys, those of you who are looking to make some changes, start with what you can do. It's still okay.
Yes, that is such a good point to bring up. Like you said, because of the diet culture that has been ingrained in us for so many years, we often end up very, very black and white. Like either we're on or we're off, or it's organic or it's not, or I can or I can't. How do we come to the middle and find that safe gray space where we're doing what works for us, our budget, our time? And it's just giving yourself grace as you're making these transitions. And I always encourage people to kind of how you said it, Leslie, it's better than. So while you're working on transitioning to lower carb, if you're not quite in that strict first phase with Barton Nutrition, if you are craving potatoes, a whole potato is going to be better than going to McDonald's and having French fries. If you can't afford the organic chicken, having chicken breast cooked at home is obvious, it's better than. In fact, that's a great option. So try not to sell yourself short with the choices you're making, because transitioning to a different dietary lifestyle, it's challenging. It's physically challenging, mentally, and even financially challenging. So one step at a time, and just feeling very good about the small changes that you are making, because that will add up to great health benefits.
Yes. Let's talk a little bit about maybe after a few days of not eating your best, how important is exercise as you're coming out of that?
So if you can, and you are moving, now after eating high carb, which I did have my hand in the air. I did have some red, white, and blue M&Ms. I did have some bar, it's like I had the sugar that I don't normally have. So now my muscles are full of sugar. My liver has some extra sugar or glycogen. That's how our body stores it. It's called glycogen. So to burn off what is stored in our muscles, exercise is going to be the perfect way to help lower that down. And then whatever is extra floating around in our blood, maybe your blood sugar was a little high when you checked it this morning. If you can go for a walk, and it doesn't have to be 45 minutes to an hour. Do you have 15 minutes, maybe 2 or 3 times today? Go ahead and just walk and move your arms. And when you're moving your arms, you can squeeze your muscles while you're moving your arms. You don't just have to saunter along and have them at your side. When you squeeze your muscles, it's sucking that sugar in, and it's a free pass for sugar to get into your muscles, even without insulin. So go ahead and squeeze those muscles when you can. And if a walk is if that's what's going to work for you, just go ahead and walk and relax. You know, we might feel a little bit stressed about how things are, but going for a walk is really going to help your mindset, and it's going to lower that cortisol, which will lower your blood sugar. So walking, that would be the first best thing. But if you have time to do any type of resistance training, that's really, really going to help shuttle that sugar where it needs to be. Resistance training will give you the most bang for your buck in the shortest amount of time. Do you like to lift weights or do any type of bands, Leslie or Cheryl?
Go ahead, Cheryl.
I do a bar-based workout, and usually it does include weights. It's not a weightlifting dedicated workout, but she uses 3 or 5 pound weights, but you're moving them fast. So, or doing squats in the workout. So it incorporates weights, but it's not like just a sole go to the gym and lift weights kind of workout. And that's one thing that I've struggled with, whether or not I should transition to that, because the bar's low impact, still muscle toning, but it's not the what is the workout that everyone does that goes to the gym, and I'm losing my thought right now because
Like
I'm literally, I feel like my brain is literally foggy after eating a bunch of carbs this week, including chips and ice cream. CrossFit is what I'm trying to think. CrossFit workouts are so intense, and I don't feel like it's for everybody. And so I think that's something I struggle with in terms of working out. This is not what we're talking about today, but I do include some resistance training in my workout. That was a long-winded answer.
No, but it was a very good answer, because anytime that we are making our muscles move, whether it's with 3 pound weights or 30 pound weights, we are getting benefit. We're strengthening our bones. We're moving that glucose into our muscles. So the little weights, and you know, those body weight exercises, those, especially when you're doing those squats, and we can all do squats at home. I mean, our biggest muscles are our leg muscles. So squeezing those leg muscles, and even if you just take a moment take a moment to stand during your workday today, and you know, touch your behind to your chair a few times, if your knees allow and it's safe for you to do that, of course. That's just such a great way to get a little bit of movement in.
And there have been times in the past, I think even we've done it a little bit at Barton, like do 100 squats a day, set your alarm, do 10 at the top of the hour. Something like that can be really beneficial. I have forgotten to do that, but it's a simple way to do that at home, and you don't have to have a gym membership.
No, not at all. And that's such a, you know, as we're getting back into our normal way of eating this week, that is going to benefit us greatly to add that. Yeah, good thought.
Someone had asked, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Leslie's been limited in movement because of her knee surgery, but have you done anything? Have you worked on your arms?
I have, not as much as I'd like, but I'm definitely getting back into being a little bit more mobile. I am finally able to ride my bike for the most part. I have a stationary bike, which I'm able to pretty much do. But it's giving me at least like I'm able to sweat and feel good, which I've been craving. So I'm feeling really good about that. I do feel the best when I lift weights. And so I'm kind of just getting back into seeing what exactly I want to do and how to do it. So, but I do notice the benefits from weights the most.
Yep. Yep. And just, you know, maybe when we think like, oh gosh, I'm really hungry, even though we just ate. Well, that's our blood sugar stabilizing again after this weekend. If you go, and if your knees allow, like Cheryl's saying, go do those 10 squats and see how you feel after you do 10 squats. Maybe it will have suppressed that craving. So squats and take a sip of water.
Yeah.
Or 2, and see how that does, because you know, a lot of times it's just it's a trigger. We were eating all weekend long, and that trigger is still going to be there, like, oh, I'm hungry. But really, no, it's just our body adjusting to, okay, we don't need to eat sugar every couple of hours, like what happened over the weekend to many of us.
Yeah, that's the hard part too, is once you start eating that sugar, then you want more. It's a terrible vicious cycle. And so you almost have to remove yourself from those places at some point.
Yes.
I had seen someone had asked on Facebook, would be very quick purchase from the store, sort of meal for a type 2 diabetic. And the first thing that came to my mind, which there are many options, but they were actually looking for something I think that was under like $5. And I thought, there are some things you could do, but one of the things that I think I'd recommend is almost those rotisserie chickens that you can get, because that's a lot of protein right there. And then you can probably, if you could eat it by itself, or you could mix it with whatever you might have at home. But I personally need some of those really quick ideas for when I get into a pinch. Maybe I haven't grocery shopped or done my meal planning, or I'm about 5 minutes away from making a bad choice while I'm out running errands. So what would be some quick options maybe that you can think of?
Yes. And so that would have been my answer to,
Funny.
was the rotisserie chicken. Grab 2 dozen eggs. If you usually buy 1 dozen eggs, grab 2 and hard boil 1 dozen up and keep the others for whatever you need during the week. And when they're done, you crack and peel those buggers right away. So, and put them in little 2-packs or 3-pack Ziploc baggies, and have some salt ready to go, and have your hard boiled eggs. That is just like a complete protein. You get your fat with it, and it's going to help quell those cravings, and it's cost effective. What about frozen burgers? Sometimes the frozen burger patties can be pretty cost effective, and they're ready. So I saw Costco had turkey burgers the other day, and the ingredients were okay. So 30 grams of protein in a burger, and I can throw it in my air fryer and have it ready in about 8 minutes. I threw some feta cheese over the top and some frozen veggies with it, and that was a pretty fast and tasty meal. It's like, we don't need to have this healthy food be boring. It's like, throw on your feta cheese or your seasoning and make it taste good and enjoy it. What else for quick? Beef sticks.
You had mentioned lunch meat. You had mentioned lunch meat. A good healthy lunch meat is a super fast and healthy way to get some protein.
And I have a lot of clients like with that turkey that I really like from Costco. They're like, oh, it's so boring. So buy some pepperoni, like the natural Hormel pepperoni that doesn't have any additives in it. And you can line slices of turkey meat with pepperoni and maybe tear up a string cheese, and you can roll it up and like have a turkey pepperoni and cheese. You can eat it cold or hot if you want it kind of melty. But my deli turkey, I needed 7 slices to get to 30 grams of protein. So just don't cut yourself short on that protein. Of course, it is the most expensive nutrient that we're going to buy, but it's going to help keep us the fullest for the longest period of time.
My family is really loving, we were kind of craving like BLTs. Well, then that morphed into like a club. So, taking some deli meat and bacon, whatever form of mayo you use, maybe tomato, and rolling all that up. I mean, that is amazing. And you're getting some good protein in there. So another option. Oh, Meg says, don't forget to use fish. Oh yeah. We could use our Trader Joe's salmon as a quick little meal too.
Oh, perfect. Yep. Yeah. Very good idea.
Or tuna. We actually do quite a bit of tuna here. My daughter actually likes tuna. She's 9. And that's kind of her go-to whenever she's hungry and she can make it on her own. So that's kind of good.
Sardines. I was not a fan of sardines. I couldn't look at them, but I finally gave in. I tried the boneless, skinless, and I don't watch as I'm emptying the can. I just get them in my bowl. You mash them up and add, your mayo, whatever you use for mayo. And there's actually less mercury content in sardines, and they taste so close to tuna. And you could throw a little bagel seasoning in there, sprinkle some cheddar cheese on top, put it in the microwave, and you have a tuna melt or a sardine melt.
Yeah.
So, and that's protein that's not going to go bad. And it's a pretty cost-effective option too.
Good idea. You had mentioned the pickle juice thing too, and I was just going to say my son plays soccer, and that's something that they do in between soccer games is drink pickle juice. And so now I'm finding that I'll do that. Sometimes I'm like, I do not want to drink any more water. I don't know what it is, but I'm like, I'll just drink some pickle juice. So fun little tip.
Yes. And don't forget to save your pickle juice if you have any left after soccer games to marinate your chicken breasts. You will get some very juicy
good idea.
with the pickle juice.
We had smoked turkey. On 4th of July, someone did a smoked turkey and they were brining it the day before. And I just wanted to comment that we brine our turkey for these holidays, and that's the best thing you can do for any poultry is brine it. So the day before you cook your chicken, put it in some salted or put in some pickle juice, and you'll be amazed at how moist your chicken can be.
Delicious.
Yeah.
That is great because I feel like I'm getting kind of sick of chicken. So this is giving me some inspiration.
Yes.
Good. Okay, we got some comments about some different fish from Meg. So sardines, herring, white anchovies, and Safe Catch Tuna. That's the brand name. And she says that the white anchovies do taste completely different from the pizza type of anchovies. So that's good to know. All right, lots of good ideas. All right. Oh, we'll probably have just like one more minute. So if anybody has any other questions, let us know. And
I want to make one comment that have been in the place in the past where after you maybe would, your diet was messed up or whatever, that I was in the mindset, I didn't realize it, that I often wanted to punish my body for eating bad or behaving bad. And I just want to say that if you're thinking that you have to punish your body, that's the wrong mindset. That it's really about loving your body. You might have messed up, but treating your body, that you just want to not just have to fix it, but that you're loving it back to health instead of saying, I got to hurt my body and now I got to make up for all that lost time. It only makes you end up worse. And I don't know if you guys want to comment if you've ever been there, or Dana, if your clients have been that way, that the idea of punishing yourself is something that we might do after a hard weekend of eating carbs.
I have been there. I have clients that have done that. And that negative thought process, our body responses are hearing our thoughts. And that's just creating inflammation and stress. And then more stress leads to further food choices that aren't going to lead us to health. So if we can start talking positive to our body, and like you say, love your body, then that's going to lead to positive food choices. So it's not easy. It's something that, I still have to work on, but the more we can talk positively to ourselves, have those good thoughts be circling in our mind, the more likely we will be to make positive food choices and lifestyle choices. We want to think we're not on a diet. So this weekend was a little bit off, but how do we get back to our lifestyle? And we want a lifestyle of nourishing our body with foods that are going to work for us.
So good. I've definitely been there. And yes, I remember even in college, we would if we were up too late, having crazy nights, and we'd get up the next day and be like, oh, we better go run X number of miles. We got to punish ourselves for what we did. That was ridiculous. Yep. The things that we did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we had a comment. Someone was looking for your Facebook page. So I'm going to post facebook.com Dana Cushing Health. So I'm going to post that here in our Zoom. And then those of you on Facebook, I'll post it there as well. So again, we will be here every other week, same time. And let's see, any closing thoughts from you guys?
Just be kind to yourself. Dana's talked about give yourself some grace. Just be kind to your body and yourself after a fun weekend, because obviously the food was partly part of the fun. Mm-hmm. But don't beat yourself up for not doing what you thought, or maybe today may not be the best day ever, but just be kind to yourself.
Yes, agreed. Well, is Leslie on mute?
There we go. I was on mute. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, that is all for us today, you guys. Thanks for joining. As always, such good information. If you're like me, you wrote down some lists of quick foods that you're probably going to go purchase at the store next time you're there, and maybe even a Trader Joe's list. So again, thanks, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.